Cops found a submarine in the Everglades. Then they opened the hatch. In the vast labyrinthine wilderness of the Florida Everglades, a pair of wildlife officers on a routine patrol spotted something unnatural, submerged just beneath the murky, tea-colored water. It was the dark, curved shape of a vessel that had no right to be there. When a specialized team was finally able to haul the strange, crudely built submarine from the swamp, they knew they had stumbled upon a tool of a shadowy, invisible trade. But it wasn't until they forced open the sealed hatch and peered into the cramped, dark interior that they understood the true, horrifying cost of that trade. What they found inside was a grim time capsule of a failed smuggling run, and a testament to the desperate, high-stakes war being waged just beneath the surface of our world. To understand how a submarine could be found in the middle of a swamp, you must first understand the unique and lawless history of the Florida Everglades. The Everglades are not just a swamp. They are a vast, slow-moving river of grass, a subtropical wilderness of sawgrass marshes, cypress domes, and a maze-like network of mangrove tunnels and hidden waterways. For centuries, this remote, inaccessible, and largely unpoliceable environment has been a perfect sanctuary for those wishing to operate outside the law. In the age of pirates, men like Blackbeard and Calico Jack used these hidden channels to escape naval patrols and hide their ill-gotten treasure. During the era of Prohibition, smugglers in high-speed boats used the same routes to bring illegal rum into the United States. And in the modern era, this ancient smuggling corridor has been adopted by a new, far more powerful and sophisticated criminal enterprise, the international drug cartels. For decades, these cartels have waged a relentless, high-tech cat-and-mouse game with law enforcement agencies like the U.S. Coast Guard and the Drug Enforcement Administration, the DEA. As aerial surveillance and radar technology improved, the cartels' old methods of using small planes and fast boats became increasingly risky. They needed a new way to transport their high-value cargo, a method that was invisible, so they went underwater. Beginning in the 1990s in the remote jungles of Colombia, the cartels began to build their own private navy. It started with what are known as low-profile vessels, or LPVs. These are not true submarines. They are long, narrow, semi-submersible boats, often made of fiberglass, designed to ride extremely low in the water, with only a small cockpit and exhaust pipe visible above the surface. Painted blue or gray, they are nearly impossible to spot with radar or from the air. They are the workhorses of the modern maritime smuggling world. But as law enforcement agencies adapted and became better at spotting LPVs, the cartels took the next incredible step. They began to build true, fully submersible submarines, or FSVs. These are not captured military submarines. They are custom-built, secret weapons, constructed in clandestine shipyards hidden deep in the jungle. The engineering, while often crude, is incredibly effective. They are typically built with a fiberglass hull over a wooden frame, powered by a simple diesel engine which requires a snorkel to run, and sometimes equipped with batteries for short periods of fully submerged, silent running. Life for the small 2- or 3-man crew is a claustrophobic nightmare. They are crammed into a tiny, dark space filled with toxic diesel fumes, often for journeys that can last for weeks. It is a one-way trip, with the crew instructed to scuttle or deliberately sink the vessel after the cargo is delivered. It is one of the most dangerous and desperate jobs in the criminal underworld. And it was one of these strange homemade ghost ships that the wildlife officers had just found in the heart of the Everglades. Our story begins on a hot, humid morning. 2 officers from the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission are on a routine airboat patrol, navigating the shallow, winding waterways deep within the Everglades. One of the officers, scanning the mangrove-lined shore, spots an unnatural shape in the water. They cut the engine, and the boat glides to a stop in the sudden, thick silence of the swamp. They could see the top of a small, rounded structure, covered in algae and vegetation, protruding just a few inches above the surface. It was a conning tower. They were looking at a submarine. Realizing they were dealing with something far outside their usual jurisdiction, they immediately called for backup from state and federal law enforcement. A multi-agency task force was quickly assembled. The first step was to raise the vessel from the swamp bed. A specialized underwater recovery team was brought in. Divers entered the murky, alligator-infested water and attached a series of heavy-duty lifting bags to the submarine's hull. These bags are like industrial-strength balloons. Once attached, they are inflated with compressed air, and their immense buoyancy can lift even extremely heavy objects from the depths. With a great surge of air and a storm of bubbling brown water, the rusty, makeshift submarine was slowly raised from the murky darkness and brought to the surface. It was a bizarre and menacing sight. It was about 40 feet long, crudely built with rough welds and an amateurish design. It was clearly not a military vessel. This was a tool built for one secret, illegal purpose. As the sub was carefully towed to a secure bank, investigators noticed significant damage to one side of the hull, a large dent and a crack, suggesting that the vessel had suffered some kind of catastrophic malfunction. The main hatch was sealed tight, rusted shut by its time in the water. The recovery team brought out heavy hydraulic tools, the jaws of life, ready to force it open and reveal the secret that it had been holding in its silent, watery tomb. With a high-pitched metallic scream, the hydraulic rescue tool bit into the edge of the sealed hatch. The team worked with methodical precision, the silence of the swamp now broken by the powerful hum of their equipment. With a final loud groan of protesting metal, the seal broke. Two officers wearing protective gear carefully pulled the heavy, rusted hatch open. A wave of foul, stagnant air, a mixture of diesel fumes and decay, washed over them. The interior of the submarine was dark and partially flooded with black, murky water. An officer aimed a high-powered flashlight into the cramped cabin. The beam cut through the darkness. And in that moment, everyone at the scene fell silent, struck by the grim and tragic sight within. The mystery of the submarine was solved. Inside the cramped cockpit, slumped over the rudimentary controls, were the skeletal remains of two men. They were the vessel's crew, and this crude submarine had become their tomb. It was a horrifying sight, a stark and silent testament to the submarine's final failed journey. As the investigators began the grim and difficult process of recovering the remains, they made the second discovery. Packed into every available space in the small cabin, alongside the crew, were dozens of waterproof, professionally sealed packages. When one was later cut open, it revealed a tightly packed brick of white powder. It was cocaine. The submarine was exactly what the authorities had suspected: a narco-sub, a ghost ship in the cartel's secret navy, and this was the evidence of its final fatal smuggling run. A full forensic investigation was launched. The medical examiner determined that the two men had died from a combination of drowning and likely carbon monoxide poisoning. The investigation into the submarine itself told the rest of the story. Engineers examined the crude but functional vessel and found the cause of the disaster. The large gash in the hull, combined with a poorly designed and malfunctioning engine, exhaust, and air intake system, or snorkel, had led to a catastrophic failure. During a submerged run through the shallow swamp waters, the engine likely stalled, or the snorkel took on water, causing the cabin to rapidly flood while simultaneously filling with deadly, invisible carbon monoxide fume. In the cramped, dark, and panicking final moments of their lives, the two crew members would have had no way to escape the sealed metal coffin as it sank to the bottom of the swamp. The discovery of this submarine is a rare, tangible glimpse into a hidden, high-stakes war that is being fought in the shadows of global commerce. The men who pilot these vessels are often not high-ranking cartel members. They are frequently poor, desperate fishermen or mechanics from coastal villages in South America, lured by the promise of a life-changing payday for a single, successful trip, sometimes as much as $100,000. But it is a deal with the devil. They are considered completely disposable by the cartel leaders who hire them. They are given minimal training, a rudimentary GPS course to a set of coordinates, and sent off on a one-way journey with an incredibly high chance of failure. If they are captured, the cartel loses the cargo, but simply builds another submarine. If the vessel malfunctions and sinks, as this one did, the crew becomes just another ghost, lost to the sea, their families likely never knowing their true fate. The submarine and its illegal cargo were confiscated. The vessel itself would be taken to a secure facility, where intelligence analysts and engineers from agencies like the DEA and the Department of Homeland Security would dismantle it piece by piece. They study its design, its construction techniques, its weaknesses, and its capabilities, all in an effort to develop better methods for detecting and intercepting these stealthy ghost ships before they reach their destination. The remains of the two men found inside were given a John Doe burial, their identities, like those of so many others in this brutal trade, never to be discovered. The story of the Everglades narco-sub is a powerful and chilling reminder of the incredible ingenuity and ruthlessness of the modern criminal underworld. It shows the unbelievable lengths that these organizations will go to in their quest to move their product, building entire secret navies in the remote jungles to wage a silent underwater war against the authorities. And it is a tragic testament to the human cost of that war, a story of the desperate men who undertake these fatal one-way journeys. The quiet, beautiful wilderness of the Everglades, a place of ancient nature, has for centuries been a silent witness to humanity's secret conflicts. And for a brief moment, it gave up one of its darkest and most modern secrets, a rusty homemade submarine, a metal coffin from a war that most of us never even see.